So let's look at some exercise selection ideas for someone with a pelvis that's on a right oblique orientation. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I have Neuro Coffee in hand and it is perfect. Okay, it's Wednesday. That means that tomorrow's Thursday, which means that the Coffee and Coaches Conference call is back after a 1-week hiatus. So I'm looking forward to getting back on those and seeing all those fine people at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. on Thursday. The link will be on my professional Facebook page if you're interested in joining us. I'm really digging the 15-minute consult videos that I'm doing. I'm having a great time meeting some really good people, and it's much more fun to answer these questions in real time with them rather than going through email. So be prepared. I'm probably going to continue this for a while because, like I said, I'm having a good time. So today's Q&A is with Gerardo, and I got to talk to Gerardo over the weekend. Gerardo's a coach in Miami, and he had some right-sided back issues that we were discussing, and he does a really great job of describing. This is tremendous self-awareness on his part. He's doing a great job of describing what's going on, and so it's very obvious that he's on a right oblique orientation. And so what I want to do is we'll cut away. We'll go through the call. It's very short because he really got to the point, and so we got some really good answers. But I'm going to expand on this. We're gonna talk about a little bit more exercise selection for him. So Gerardo, I hope you're watching because there's some other stuff that we didn't talk about on the call that I think is going to be useful for you. So let's go to the call, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the exercises that you may want to continue with.
Gerardo?
Yes, you have followers from Miami all the way down to South America. So I'm translating as much as I can to Spanish, but we're doing good.
Okay. All right. No hablo español.
You're good. but you eat Mexican food, so that's good. That's good.
Yes. Every Thursday. So there you go. Okay. What's your question, my friend?
So I'm a personal trainer. I started listening to you through Dr. Pat in New York. The idea of compression and expansion is new to me, but I'm going to try to explain it as fast as I can. I have a right tilt and a back pain on my right side of my ilium. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I've always been tilted to my right, and I've been, kettlebell carries on my right. Yep. I've been doing, trying to understand what I need to do with my foot, but I don't have as much dorsiflexion on my right side as I do on my left side. Correct. I don't have as much hamstring, I guess, leg extension on my right side, and I do have it on my left side more. Yeah. I did suffer some pain on my left adductor. Okay. And then on my right side, I cannot yield back as much as I can on my left side. So I've had this tilt forever.
Okay. Yeah. Can I stop you for a sec? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So chances are you're not actually yielding on the left side. Okay. All right. And the side bend that you're talking about is an attempt to reacquire internal rotation downward into the ground. So your right foot is supinated, correct? It's more supinated because you can't dorsiflex.
Yeah, my right foot actually opens when I squat.
Yes, there you go. Okay, yeah. So you're trying to find range of motion. So that is an orientation into external rotation, but your side bend is actually going to be you trying to find the internal rotations to produce force into the ground. So what you do is you create the external rotation position. So you're going for an area or a space where you do have access to external rotation, so you can superimpose the internal rotation on top of it. But when you're walking, your right side bend is the internal rotation. That's how you're getting force into the ground. Okay. So chances are you've got a pelvis that is tipped over to the right on an oblique axis and pushed way forward. All right.
Yeah. So my right oblique is higher in this case. Like my ribs are going down and my hip is coming up.
Well, it's tipped up. like this. So if this is straight, it's up and over like that. Okay. So this is how you get into rotation. So you push into rotation downward in this direction. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So so you need to be able to push yourself back and to the left. So you're going to do right leg or right foot leading activities that will push you back and to the left.
So the cable left hand hold in front of me into a deep squat with a right foot forward.
That kind of an activity, yes, exactly. So what you're going to feel the resistance through your right foot. So that's going to bring your right foot down to the ground and allow you to push back and to the left.
Right.
So you've been doing activities to create the yielding action on the left side, but you have to be able to push yourself back into that. So it's a right leg lead. So you're going to hang on to the internal rotation on the left side that you can probably acquire, but you got to push back and to the left from the right side. So it's a right side forward type of an activity, whether that be upper extremity or lower extremity, it's going to be a right side forward to push you back into the left.
Is that why I get a spasm sometimes that will just lock me up to the right for a week?
Well, again, so anytime you feel what you would perceive as that side bend to the right, that's internal rotation. That's an attempt to acquire internal rotation because you don't have access to it at the hip joint where you would probably want it. So you have to acquire it somewhere else. So you have to create a downward force under those circumstances.
All right. And those injuries that happen where my body would just like feel something on that right side, and then over the course of the day, it'll just lock me up to the right, give me a lot of pain on my back, lower back right side. And it won't allow me to like let go of the muscle. Like the muscle's just contracted. Is that normal?
Well, I mean, obviously it's not normal because it doesn't feel good and it becomes a limitation. But as far as what you're experiencing under those circumstances and why you may feel it, I mean, that's just a typical response to a loss of adaptability. Right. So you're going to put pressure, you're creating pressure and tension to accomplish a goal. And unfortunately, it reduces your adaptability to such a degree that load and tension now becomes painful.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, that's normal. It's a normal circumstance, right?
Right.
But it's due to the limited adaptability that you do have. So the activities that you're going to want to choose are the ones that restore your ability to be more adaptable. So you're a big, strong guy, which means that you've got a lot of concentric muscle activity. It means that you've got a lot of compressive capabilities. So you can pick up heavy things, right? But eventually you have to give something up in return to be able to do those things.
Okay. And then final question is, when I go into that deep squat, left hand hold, I was playing with it and I was also at some point, like concentrically as I came up, bring up a kettlebell with my right side. Is that overdoing it?
Maybe. It seems like you're adding some complexity that you may not need.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to try to focus on breathing, holding that arm on that side and getting down.
Like I said, start there, but make sure you're doing enough right side leading activities. And again, always with the sense that you're turning left with that right side lead. So when you talk about being in a deep squat with your left arm with the cable forward, you're going to turn into that left side. Yeah, exactly. You want to think about making space on that left posterior aspect, because then you know that you're pushing back and making the turn that you need. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time. Yeah, that's excellent. That's all I need to know.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Sir.
All right, so let's go through some of the clues that Gerardo gave us, because he did a really good job of laying this out as to why we think that he's on this right oblique axis. So let me grab the pelvis, and then we'll talk a little bit about the foot as well. And so right off the bat, he kind of mentioned that he had this right side bend thing going, and the obvious place that you're going to see this is through the trunk or through the rib cage. And what this typically is somebody that's looking for a way to get force down into the ground. We know that force down into the ground is internal rotation. So that's step one, which means that we know that he's getting pushed over to the right side in some way, shape, or form. He also mentioned reduced dorsiflexion. So this would be a typical reaction to somebody that's getting pushed on this oblique axis. So typically what they're going to show first is they're going to show an early propulsive foot strategy. And so for those of you that have been living in the dark, what we're going to see is we're going to see an ER tibia, we're going to see an arch in the foot, the first metatarsal head's going to be on the ground, so we're going to see a foot that looks like that. Now, something else that he mentioned as we were going through this discussion is that he toes out when he squats. So what that is someone that's trying to make some external rotation space so that they can then apply force into the ground in internal rotation. So I have to have ER first to superimpose my IR. So he's actually toeing out with this foot. And so in this case, what that would tell us is that he may have started with this early propulsive foot, but now he's still getting pushed forward and over the right foot. And what that's going to do, it's going to move him into this middle propulsive strategy. So the arch is going to probably start to go down. So he's going to have to compensate by turning the foot outward to create the external rotation, because we've got a loss of external rotation in the right oblique axis to begin with. He also mentioned that he had a reduced straight leg raise. So again, this tells us that he's pushed even farther forward. So what he's doing, he's picking up some concentric activity even lower in the pelvis on the right side, which is going to reduce that straight leg raise on the right. He mentioned left adductor pain. This is really, really common. So when I get pushed over to the right, I'm going to pick up concentric orientation in the right adductors. I'll get eccentrically oriented in the left adductors, and so I can get a strain type of sensation there. And then he mentioned limited yielding on this right side. So if I get a compressive strategy, so it'll be just through this middle portion of the sacrum, it's going to get pushed forward, and that's going to drive me up and over the top of this right leg. And so again, typically what I'm going to see is I'm going to see a gain of internal rotation on this right side and the loss of external rotation. But if I keep getting pushed further forward, I'm going to pick up some concentric orientation on this right side. And so again, this shows us the limitations that Gerardo is talking about. Now, he's already started on a really good activity that I like, which is it's an offset squat variation with a low cable, where he's actually reaching forward with the left side. And what he's doing, he's actually creating the yielding action on the left side, and then he's creating the overcoming action on the right side. So he's moving into a later propulsive strategy on the right side and an early propulsive strategy on the left side. So I love that. But something that we didn't talk about on the call that I want to make clear is that you may need to initiate some static positions and some rolling activities at first to create this delay on the left and the advancement on the right. And so again, left rolling activity. So we might start you statically on your left side to start to move the sacrum from this right oriented position. So if I put you on your left side and we do some of the static activities, that's going to start to bring you back to this middle ground, and then we can turn it into a roll and turn it in the other direction. So Gerardo, again, I hope you're watching. You might need to do some of this sideline stuff and rolling stuff as some of your movement prep before you start to train. Once you do that, now we've got a lot of stuff on the table. So I really like the left half kneeling static activities to start to promote this, again, capturing this middle ground so we can start to produce this turn. Once you're able to produce this overcoming action on the right side and get you into a later propulsive strategy on the right side. So just like the offset squat with the left cable reach, we can put you in left half kneeling and do a left arm reach, but we're going to have to maintain that yielding action on the posterior left side. And so again, there should be a video here that's showing you what I'm talking about there. once you do that kind of a thing, now we can turn this into a dynamic split squat where we got the right foot lead like we were talking about on the video. You might want to use an offset load. So I would put that on with the right leg lead, I'm going to put that on the ipsilateral side. So it's going to be a right side loaded, right foot forward split squat activity. And once you capture enough hip range of motion, now we've got heels elevated, Camperini deadlift is now on the table to get that sacrum to turn and actually capture that yielding action through the pelvis. So Gerardo, thank you so much for the call. Truly appreciate you. Everybody have a terrific Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow morning on the Coffee and Coaches conference call at 6 a.m. Have a great day.